Thank you very much for the opportunity to meet with you today. I'm going to provide your organization with clear evidence why you should invest in a large-scale urban agriculture program in Bogota, Colombia, to help with the adaptation and mitigation of climate change impacts. My presentation will go over what is urban agriculture, what are the benefits of urban agriculture, what can urban agriculture do to address climate change? We're going to identify whether there are any risks associated with urban agriculture and what we can do to mitigate those risks. I'm going to go over Bogota, Colombia and its current situation in the context of climate change. We're going to identify how urban agriculture can specifically help Bogota and identify some of those next steps, how urban agriculture can be effectively integrated into Bogota. What is urban agriculture? The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations defines urban agriculture and peri-urban agriculture as the growing of plants and the raising of animals within and around cities. Urban and peri-urban agriculture provides food products from different types of crops, animals, as well as non-food products, such as teas and medicines. Urban agriculture is different from and complementary to rural agriculture in local food systems. Urban agriculture is integrated into the local urban, economic, and ecological system. Urban agriculture has many health, social, economic, and ecological benefits for a variety of people across all social classes. Urban agriculture is enabled by simply providing the needed supplies and providing access to land and rooftops. If no appropriate land is available, urban farms can even be grown in planters right over top of brownfields. A great example of that is in Vancouver, BC, where a number of successful urban agricultural activities have been taking place over top of brownfields. Support services can improve the outcomes of urban agriculture by providing technical assistance, education, and opportunities to learn from others. The interlinkages of urban agriculture. Urban agriculture has many linkages that make it highly effective and multifaceted in its approach to improving communities. Urban agriculture maintains food security by producing fresh food close to the city, less energy for transportation, cooling, and storage, and it reduces greenhouse gas emissions. That's good for the environment, and it helps to address climate change impacts. Small-scale urban farmers can make extra money by selling some of the food or goods they produce, or they can save money by not having to purchase foods. The cost of implementing urban agricultural programs is quite small in relation to the benefits. Urban farming is healthy. It's exercise to till the soil, weed and pick vegetables, or tend to small animals. Fresh food has greater nutritional value, and people are more likely to eat more fruits and vegetables if they have them on hand. Urban agriculture can benefit communities in the face of emergencies and disasters. Not only can low-lying zones be used to grow crops, but urban agriculture keeps these areas free from construction, and that reduces overall impacts when something like flooding occurs. Flooding might dissipate more quickly due to the enhanced drainage and permeability of soils. People benefit from skill development and increased senses of community, safety, and the welcoming spaces for all ages and capabilities. Urban agricultural areas are hosts to birds, butterflies, and other beneficial insects. Urban agriculture can help communities adapt to present and future climate change impacts. Increasingly, it is supported by a growing number of cities worldwide to address food security, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and adapt to climate change impacts. Urban agriculture includes many of the requirements to improve life for urban city dwellers facing climate-related impacts. Increasing biologically productive green space can help to relieve the urban heat island effect, serve as a water management strategy, and enhance urban food security. In addition, urban agriculture can help to mitigate further climate change by reducing transportation needs and transforming the current agricultural practices that contribute to global warming. The 2014 report from Growing Greener Cities in Latin America and the Caribbean suggests that production is usually for home consumption. Only a few farmers sell their produce to supermarkets or at organic food fairs. In Latin America and the Caribbean, urban agriculture is practiced in areas with generally high rates of poverty. Studies have found that farming families are more likely to have a diversified diet based on fresh, homegrown produce supplemented by purchased foods. With a steady local food supply, urban dwellers are more likely to adapt to climate change impacts and remain resilient in the face of disasters. Although there are risks associated with urban agriculture, the 2014 report from the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations indicates that most urban farmers use almost no chemicals and irrigate their crops with drinking water. According to the FAO, urban agriculture can carry health and environmental risks. Some of these include the potential use of contaminated land or water, odors, noise pollution, inappropriate use of pesticides, and raw organic manure that can leak into water sources. There is also an increased risk of the spread of zoonosis to humans when agricultural activities, animals, and food sources are closer to humans. These risks can, for the most part, be mitigated through proper education and training programs and through ensuring integration into government policies. There are always risks with any project, but the benefits and potential climate change mitigations far outweigh the risks of urban agriculture. Bogota, Colombia has a population of around 8.7 million people. It is the capital of Colombia. The city lies at 2,600 meters altitude on a mountain plateau in the eastern mountains of the Andes. The climate is a subtropical highland. The average temperature is 14 degrees Celsius. The driest months are December, January, July, and August, while the rainiest months are April, May, September, October, and November. Bogota appears to be welcoming of innovation. It was recently recognized by C40 for urban transportation. C40 is a working group comprised of 40 global metropolises with the purpose of devising policies to combat climate change. Bogota developed a bus system, Transmilenio, and electric taxi initiatives, which established an extensive public transportation system. This included a bike network through the city and authorized the creation of the largest fully electric taxi fleet in South America. Bogota, Colombia is feeling the effects of climate change right now. The city has experienced flooding and landslides that have required government to resettle populations. There are displaced people living in Bogota. Displacement is a key issue associated with the climate change impacts. From 1997 to 2007, over 21,000 households were resettled from areas impacted by landslides. A large-scale urban agriculture project in Bogota can help citizens to adapt and mitigate climate change impacts right now and into the future. Bogota's climate change impact scenario. The long-term climate change impacts look to the majority of Colombia being 2 to 4 degrees warmer by 2071 to 2100. Change in agricultural productivity in Colombia will reduce by approximately 15% between 2080 compared to 2013 levels. This will likely result in higher food prices and less access to fresh foods. Climate characteristics for 2030 to 2050 Bogota. Predictions for general climate characteristics include the average annual rainfall increase from 2,208 millimeters to 2,278 millimeters in 2050. Temperatures will also rise by 2.2 degrees Celsius on average by 2050, and by 2030 they will rise by 1.2 degrees Celsius. The mean daily temperature range will increase from 9.6 degrees Celsius to 9.8 degrees Celsius in 2050, and the maximum number of cumulative dry months will decrease from 3 to 2 months. Extreme conditions. The maximum temperature of the year increases from 26.7 degrees Celsius to 29.4 degrees Celsius, while the warmest quarter gets hotter by 2.3 degrees Celsius in 2050. The minimum temperature of the year increases from 15 degrees Celsius to 16.9 degrees Celsius, while the coldest quarter gets hotter by 2 degrees Celsius in 2050. What do these climate change impacts mean for Bogota? Increasing floods, landslides due to heavier and more intense rainfall, increased runoff, reduced water retention capacity, increasing temperatures, and an increase in the urban heat island effect. These are all documented in the IPCC assessment report in 2007 and the Diaz-Granados assessment in 2010. Why invest in urban agriculture in Bogota, Colombia? Urban agricultural lands in low-lying areas can be used to capture and increase rainfall and runoff, reducing the likelihood of flooding. Planting crops on steep slopes can reduce the likelihood of landslides. Bogota can increase its green space through urban farming, effectively reducing the heat island effect. With increasing temperatures and the agricultural yields down, urban agriculture can really maintain food security. Next steps. What can we do to integrate urban farming into Bogota's urban centers? Planning policy development. We're going to start with the development of a metropolitan policy for urban agriculture. Develop an action plan to roll out urban agriculture to different areas of Bogota. Designate public and private spaces that can be used for urban agricultural purposes. Assess what tools and funding are needed, and introduce education and training programs on urban agriculture. We can assess the program effectiveness over time, adjust to fit the needs of the target population, and then move forward. I hope that I've given you an opportunity to consider what urban agriculture can do for Bogota, and I hope that you're now supportive of this very important project. Thank you.